So you want to know if you have been called by the creator of the universe, the Most High Yah. If you're watching this video, let me just simply tell you that you have been called. Now, this is not a joke. This is not a trick, answer. It's the truth. And I'm going to tell you why. Many people, they would not even have clicked on the video, simply put, because they do not care if they have been called. There are so many people, and I'm not only talking about atheists. I'm talking about even people that you would call church folk. They simply don't care whether or not if they have been called. They just want to go about their day. Yeah, they may come to church on, Sunday, even Sabbath, but they don't actually have a genuine relationship or desire a genuine relationship with the creator of the universe. They don't care if they have been called. But if you're watching this video, it's because deep down inside, there's something different about you. Again, this is not me trying to stroke your ego. It is the truth. However, just because you are called, that is not the be all and end all of this spiritual journey. Let me explain. In Ephesians 4 verse 1, it says, I therefore, the prisoner of the master, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you have been called. Okay, so let's break this down, right? This is why it's very important to know your word, because if you think that just because you have been called that you have somehow arrived, that is not the case. Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, right? He said it best. Many are called, but few are chosen, right? Jesus even gave a parable. It was like a king who was trying to have a wedding for his son. And he sent his servants out to, invite all those who were given the wedding invitation. And many people came up with excuses. They're like, I gotta go bury my father. I just did a bunch of excuses. And what's so crazy is that when they had reported back to the king, they said, the people are not coming. Think about that. The people that were actually given the invitation, they apparently life was too important. They had their own thing to do. They did not want to come. The master, the king, therefore said, you know what? How about you just take all the poor, the low folks in the highways and the byways and just bid them to come? Why is this important, y'all? This is important because first and foremost, you have to understand that if you have been called, it is a grace. It is purely by grace that you are even called to this very day, time, and hour to even serve the Most High. It truly is grace, because you originally were not even given the invitation. You see, there were many people in times past, right? Our ancient forefathers, the Hebrews, right? They were given the covenant of the Most High, and they spurned it, right? Through much murmuring and complaining, they ended up breaking covenant with the Most High because they wanted to serve all these other mighty ones. And here you are to prove that you have been called, right? To prove that you didn't truly deserve it. Which one of you was actually looking for the Most High? If you want to keep it a buck, none of us. We were all living our life. We were all just doing whatever the hell we wanted to do, going to parties, you know what I'm saying, drinking, smoking, whatever the case may be. But we certainly was not looking for the Most High. And if we were looking, it was very shallow. Again, we just wanted to, punch in our time and say we went to church every Sunday or every Sabbath, but you wasn't truly seeking the Most High. And then one day out of nowhere, right, you have been called. And all of a sudden, you see the world a little bit differently. You hear things a little bit differently. And then there's a rift that takes place between you and your family members. This is the sign that you have been called. All of a sudden, the things that pertain to the Most High, matters much more deeply to you than it does for your family members, and a rift starts to take place, right? You start to be very concerned and highly obsessed with reading your word, and your family members just can't understand it. You might even experience people who you thought were way holier than you, right? People that probably went to church every single day. You try to come to them, you say, surely they would understand. And then when you present information to them, do they? That's an emphatic no. Again, all of this is a sign that you have been called. But that's why Ephesians 4 said, I therefore am a prisoner of the master. I beseech you, beg you. This is Paul saying, I beg you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you have been called. Because remember, the invitation was not first given to you. It is a grace. So to prove it, here you have this man, right, who ends up coming to the wedding, right, continuing the parable of Jesus. And the king looks at him and said, friend, where's your wedding garment? Right? Bunch of excuses. It goes to show you that just because you have been called, your salvation is not 100% secured. That doesn't give you an automatic pass into the kingdom. The man didn't have a wedding garment. He was kicked out. And that's an analogy that he's going to end up in the lake of fire, right? You have to walk worthy. There are many people today that have been called. They understand what they need to do. They know they need to die out to themselves. They know they have to walk in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. They know they have to actually be a light the way Christ called them to be. And yet, till this day, do they actually walk as the light? No, they look just like the world. They talk just like the world. Their entertainment is within the world. You think such individuals are walking worthy of the vocation wherein they have been called? That's a no. And I'm going to tell you why. Because here's the key with that verse, right? We've been talking about walking worthy, but the verse started off by saying this. I therefore am a prisoner of the master, the creator of the universe, the Lord. I am a prisoner. That's the key. You see, a prisoner, his or her life, is totally done away with. They are told when to eat. They told when to drink. They told when they can use the bathroom. They told, you know what I'm saying, they have to walk in line to go from one room to the next. Their life is completely taken away. Are you a prisoner of the master? Is your life 100% taken away? Have you died to yourself? You see, this is why the Bible speaks the way it does. All these accounts are saying the same exact thing. You need to die to yourself. You have to. Think about it this way, right? A plant, right, which starts off as a seed. How can it even bear fruit if it not first dies and gets buried underground? That is you. This is why Christ always says, you shall know them by their fruit. You shall know them by their fruit. You see, you are supposed to die to your old Adamic nature. But many people don't want to die. They still want to hold on to their own vain opinions. They still want to hold on to what mommy and daddy had told them. Even though, mind you, I said earlier in this video that when the Most High called you, he created that rift. Jesus himself said, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. To divide father from the son, mother against the daughter, father-in-law against the son-in-law, right? He came to bring a sword. He came to bring a divide because he know that not everybody can hear him. Only the sheep can hear his voice. You see, again, I'm bringing up all these different verses and they all saying the same thing. Here a little, there a little, line upon line upon line, precept upon precept. They all say the same thing. You see, we are making it way too complicated. Yeah, you may have been called, But I beseech you, brethren, walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you have been called. It's not enough to be called. You have to die to yourself. Be a prisoner to the master. Be led by him. Be led by Jesus the Christ. You have to die to yourself. Could you imagine? You had all these disciples, right? The apostles. They had lives. Think about it. Read the account. All the apostles, they had lives. And out of nowhere, Jesus Christ calls them, and what they do? Straightway, they just leave their occupations and follow this man. Think about that. This is the example that the apostles had laid before us. These guys were fishermen. Some of them were lawyers. Some of them tax collectors. And out of nowhere, just because they heard the voice, right? They were called. They dropped everything and followed this man. Which one of you are going to do that today? You see, I'm not trying to make this religious. I'm not saying you got to drop everything. Maybe the Most High didn't ask that of you. But what I am saying is that, are you prepared to lose your life in order to follow the master? You see, because when you could do that, when you could be a true prisoner of the master, when you could be a slave of righteousness, then that's when you actually walking worthy of the vocation wherewith you have been called. I hope I'm reaching someone today. I really do. I really pray that all of you who have the ears to hear, that you guys will actually listen to this message that I'm giving forth today, and you can actually walk worthy of this calling. And I'm gonna just tell you right now, guys, you know, the day that you are called, the journey is going to be tough. It's designed that way. It's designed that way. Again, he didn't come to bring peace. Many people are thinking that serving Jesus is going to be this kumbaya, sweet passage into the kingdom. No, it's going to be tough. It's designed that way. He's trying to prove you. He's trying to test you. He's trying to test your resolve to see if you truly love him or not. But I guarantee you guys, I guarantee you, the same way the passage says you need to endure to the end. If you could just endure the ridicule, endure dying out to yourself, giving up your so-called passions, right? Your worldly desires. You may have wanted to do this job in times past, and now you got to give it up. It's tough. It's tough. But if you could do it for Christ's sake, you will make it into the kingdom. Again, I hope this message blesses y'all. With that being said, Nick over and out. The message sent. Jesus is King, y'all.